Hello, everybody.
Yo.
This is Mary Yates. I am on for Sharon doing the moderation. She's going to be joining us soon. I'm just letting everybody in the room. How's everybody doing?
Good. Yourself?
Doing great. Thank you.
All right, that was cool.
Hey, everybody. Welcome. We are, I guess, getting started. I'm not sure who Sharon asked me to kind of come in and make sure everybody could get in the room because she's traveling, and I'm not sure who's actually leading the meeting, but I am happy to get hellos going, if that's okay. I'm Mary Yates, sitting in here for Sharon until she can join us, and I'm with Art FM, Lady Jam's Juice Box. Just kind of go around and say hey.
I gotta hop on here.
We'll stop in about the same time tomorrow.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it. Thanks for coming on out. Hey, yes, you have a good rest of your day. Yes. I think it will. Hopefully it's just a few days before it gets back to well, what normal was. But yeah, man, I will see you tomorrow. All right. Have a good one.
Anybody else want to say hello or introduce themselves?
Yeah, hi, this is Jim Ellinger in Austin, Texas.
Hi, Jim.
You get to
Michael Brown with Brown Broadcast Services, and I don't know why my head's cutting off here. So it's the lack of a green screen, I guess. Radio engineering consultant doing FCC applications.
Awesome.
there we are.
Hi, Eric
What's
Truax.
the weather like up there? Hey, Eric.
Hey, Jim. Hey, also from Austin. Hi, it's Eric here in KJZX LP in Austin. Hey, Jim, how you doing?
Good, good.
Hey, Sharon.
Hi.
How's it going?
Hey, it's going well. How are you all? Hi.
Hey, there she is.
I've got that weird green screen thing happening. I'm borrowing Sean's computer, but hello, everyone. I'll try to work that out. I'm here. I don't know if you can see. I'm in downtown Chattanooga outside the beautiful aquarium that they have here. You can't see it at all, but I have a lovely view. So glad to see you all tonight. Sharon Scott with WXOX. And thanks to Mary Yates for getting us all set up here, getting us going. Hi, Jim Ellinger. I'm glad you made it.
We're just doing introductions. Shall I introduce as well? Okay, Amoshan Toft, faculty advisor, one of the faculty advisors now for U-Wave Radio, former LPFM applicant. Maybe we'll apply again. Woo!
Everybody who hasn't introduced yourself, please do. We're very curious to know who you are and glad that you're here. I'm going to work on my.
William Balancio, Brunswick Community Radio, waiting for that window to open in however many days. So
I'm Davine Dial in Asheville, North Carolina. I'm the general manager of WPVM in Asheville.
I'm Janelle Nardone. I'm the station manager at KZAX in Bellingham, Washington.
I'm Nicolette Natividad. I'm the station manager at U-Wave Radio in Bothell.
And just to keep things going with Washington, I'm Mark Patterson from Space 101.1 in Magnuson Park.
Hi, I'm Marcus. I'm the station manager at KURU here in Silver City, New Mexico.
Did everybody have a chance to introduce themselves?
Computer audio settings. There we go. Can everybody hear me?
Yeah, we got you now.
Perfect. Yeah, I was just having we're having all kinds of problems over here today. I guess maybe the window has just completely blown up Riverton or something. I don't know, but anyway, I'm Michelle Bradley, founder of REC Networks.
You're gonna be one busy person, Michelle.
I am gonna be one of many busy people. Yes.
Michael Brown will be very busy, I'm sure.
Obviously there's a lot of excitement. Obviously we're getting a lot of shows of interest. A lot of people are looking at locations. We're actually finding places.
Yay.
And we'll have some news on some things here if you want to break it over to me.
Yeah, let's dive into the meeting. Thank you all so much again for joining. I'm on the road. I'm trying to get down and visit my mom, but I'm halfway in between Louisville and Atlanta here in Chattanooga, and it's wonderful to see all your faces. I'm super excited. This is a really exciting, heart-pounding time for the community radio world. It's exciting that we have a few people already on this line that are interested in applying. Super exciting. We have a few engineers on here that can help everybody out as well. So hopefully we can exchange some information tonight and then continue the conversation as we get closer to the window, because this is a really big deal. I think that, we as the community radio world are some of the few people that actually know about this thing, and it's going to be really important to us to get the word out there and let community nonprofits know, and folks that might want to form nonprofits to get their own stations to make that happen really quickly. But we just really right now we're in a big push to get the word out. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. I want to, before we dive into the LPFM thing, because I think that's a huge conversation and there's tons of information we want to learn about that. Not everybody is interested in that. So I want to cut to some of the, sort of entire community type of things. And then if folks aren't interested in LPFM for some reason, you can dive off the line. But I think everybody on this call should be interested in the LPFM movement. But anyway, I'm Sharon Scott, WXOX. Thank you so much for joining. We've got Mary Yates, Lady Jam on the line, and she's helping administer this call. So if you have any problems or questions, feel free to shoot her a message. But the very exciting news that we want to share, first of all, is that the GRC is happening in person this year, which is so exciting. I cannot wait to be around you people in person, have some drinks, hang out, talk about all our, accomplishments and all the crap we've been through for the past 3 years. So if anyone here has never been to the Grassroots Radio Conference, I really want to stress how important this conference is. It really is unlike anything I've ever been to. In fact, it's kind of the reason I have an LPFM radio, or our community has an LPFM radio station, because I found out about the LPFM movement by going to a GRC and then met all these wonderful people on the line that were really helpful to getting our station online, and helping us make that happen. So I found going to the conference was just such the conference before our window was such an intense sharing of information that out of that one weekend, I kind of packed everything in that I needed to know. And I really feel like this next conference can do that for new applicants as well. And I'm just happy to be able to be together with everyone again. It's been a very long time. And this conference is really the one place where the community radio world comes together and hangs out and shares ideas. And there's always wonderful speakers. Hopefully some of you all will be speakers for that. And we do have, so I'm excited. The conference will be in West Virginia this year, hosted by WTSQ. Oh, I'm breaking up. No, you're fine. Breaking up, Dad? It's fine. Okay, cool. All right, good. I got some kind of message. I thought it might be me. This is a really cool LPFM radio station that has stepped up to the plate. They're a little bit nervous about it, but I think that everybody on the line here has been to conferences and helped make conferences happen, can be assets to them and resources. So hopefully y'all will reach out and help them with that and encourage them, just to give it their best shot. And that's what we always do. And we just kind of go for it at these conferences. And, and it's always just wonderful being together, no matter what the formal conference turns out to be like. So I'm just excited to see everyone. And I'm going to turn it over. Charleston is a beautiful, beautiful city. I mean, just surrounded by wilderness and wildlife. So it's a really great destination. And I see that we have Chris Long on the phone, and Chris is the founder of WTSQ and one of the folks getting himself into this big mess. So Chris, are you there?
I am here. How are you all?
Doing great. I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm well. My service is a little sketch. Hopefully that's why I had to drop video. Hopefully audio is okay.
Sounding good so far.
Okay.
Yep.
It's nice to meet. I met Sharon years ago at a GRC in Hot Springs. I had a phenomenal time at that GRC. That was the second GRC that WTSQ had attended. I think we attended a total of 3, got out of sync, and then ultimately COVID. And so we're honored to be doing this. We are very much got the cart in front of the horse, but I think things will work out very well. Sharon was kind enough to calm me down yesterday. And so, Damon, the current president of the organization of WTSQ is been vacationing. So he's been unavailable. So I'm just happy to kind of interject where I can and provide information. And the city of Charleston's very hospitable as far as ease of access and affordability and minimal traffic. It's a safe city. So I look forward to showcasing not just what we've been doing here, but showcasing our city and engaging with some people that we have not been engaging ourselves with for a number of years. So I'm looking very forward to this.
Yeah, it's a beautiful, walkable city. I think it'll be a lot of fun. It just has this condensed downtown area where, once you get there, you can kind of just run off in packs and explore the place. And Chris, is your new station in the downtown area? I know y'all just moved.
Hang on just a second. Sorry, I got caught up in a technical matter.
What a beautiful city. Maybe people heard me. I don't know. It's just a beautiful city. I think everyone's going to love it there. Chris, do any more information? So the dates.
Okay, I'm so sorry. Can you repeat that? I'm at the. So yes, we moved. So the things are kind of wild for us. Actually, I was in the middle of just a small technical matter here at the new location. So the original station, 2015, was kind of built into the Union Building, which is a historic building on the riverfront. And that building is in the process of going from commercial to residential. So they're gutting it. They've been giving us a heads up for a few years that, hey, when we pull the trigger on this, you've got to move. So last year, and my reply to them was, well, please give us a heads up. The FCC is not the quickest moving, body to deal with. And I want to say thank you to Michelle for making that process so much easier, because there were so many headaches last year. But we started the beginning of 2021 being told that we had 90 days to get out. Ooh. And so we found a new location and moved the studio into the new location within 90 days and started broadcasting remotely from that. And then October of last year, we got the finalized authorization to move the antenna, and then built the new antenna site. And so, man, last year was something else. So that was part of the, some of my anxiety was our house is, you can still tell we're moving in. So I'm sorry.
I think that was just some noise there, but yeah, I think you guys are going to do a great job. I've seen the amazing things you've done with your station, and I just think it's going to be fantastic. And I think everybody is just excited to be together. And I know there'll be a lot of new LPFM people there that we can welcome into the fold, encourage them, to get busy. The only thing I think that we're, a little bit, everybody's like, oh my gosh, this window, has now been triggered, as whatever you want to say, and I mean, I don't know. We knew it was coming, but now it's here. So, and then this conference right now is scheduled for October 19th through the 22nd. However, that's very close to the FM window, which, it's going to be bad for Michelle and Michael. For everybody else, hopefully they've found their engineer by that time and moving forward. But so that's going to be a big crunch. And I think we just roll with it, we do what we can. But I know that is tough. So I know that WTSQ really wants to focus on the LPFM window and getting people, that are interested in applying there. It will be really a short period of time to get them to decide to apply. They really probably need to have already decided to apply before that. But at the conference, we can supply them with tons of information about how to run their radio station and get it going and stuff like that. So that part will.
Well, I was going to suggest, hopefully they're made their decision before this conference, because the 1 week is just not enough time to do it. Although we've done that, we've done it in a day or two, but we've been in situations where we did have to turn people down the last couple of weeks before windows, because we were just at overcapacity. What I was going to suggest, though, at the conference, perhaps have one or more sessions of, what happens after the window closes, settlements. So, invite applicants who are already applying or to attend and to tell them about what will happen next and what you may need to do next. In addition to, the running of the station after you're on the air. But even before that happens, there's a lot that they may have to do before they get approved.
You mean we have to run the station after we get the license?
No, it did.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
You just set the computer up and it runs itself.
Doesn't it?
No.
No,
We're not allowed to apply.
The approval process and what you should do if you have competing applications, which more often than not you do.
Yeah, I imagine that'll be a good time for some strategy lessons, waiting for the MXs to be announced. Well, does anyone, I think that we would really like to hear from you all about what kinds of, that's a great, great information there, Michael. Does anyone else have any, Betty's raising her hand. I'm asking for suggestions for the GRC, but Betty, was that the same topic you want to talk about? Feel free to go.
Yeah, it's for the GRC. I was a co-organizer for the 2018 GRC in Portland. And at the end of that conference, we collected the $1,500 that we had received as the nest egg and sent it on to Rochelle, Washington in Rochester, New York for the 2019. Now, Sharon, did you get any of that, get that nest egg money for the virtual one you did?
No, we did not. We talked to Rashida about it and we said that we were going to defer since we were just doing the virtual conference, and that we didn't feel like we needed that. And we asked them to hold onto it until the next in-person conference.
Okay, great.
Rashida has moved jobs now is the problem. So our contact that's what I was going to ask, if anybody happened to have a contact at WXIR, because they also have the quilt. I feel confident that everything is fine with that. It's just nobody's made the outreach to them. So there's no reason to believe there's any foul play or the money's missing or anything like that. It's just we haven't known who to contact. I'm happy just to contact Calvin, was the one of the guys over there. I can reach out to them if no one else here has any contacts at WXIR.
Yeah, the quilt the quilt disappeared for a while, but we did in fact recover it a few years back.
Yeah, we had the quilt after it disappeared in Louisville. We won it at a raffle and it's beautiful and we loved having it, but I saw it definitely was hanging up at the WXIR studios.
That's right. Yeah.
So hopefully it's still hanging there.
Great. So you will have that, after we go through the steps of finding it and sending it to you, you'll have that nest egg to do things like put a down payment on the venue and make arrangements for speakers if they need to have some kind of compensation. There are various things that you need to get done ahead of time, and this will help you a lot until you get the registration going.
Right.
And Chris at WTSQ and his colleagues have asked, they're very interested in having some feedback and some information, from previous conference hosts. So Betty, I'll be getting with you, and if anyone else here hosted a conference, we'd like to create a Google Drive where we put up all the information from past years, how much were tickets, whatever you happen to have.
Yeah,
And
I got lots of stuff.
Okay, great. I'll reach out to you, Betty. We'll get that happening. Has anybody else on this call? Before I forget, I just want to thank Zach at KUHS, who is the one who called up Chris at WTSQ and said, hey, I'd really like to come to Charleston and see your beautiful radio station in your gorgeous city, and kind of, put the hard sell on Chris and one of the reasons why we'll have the conference this year. So shout out to Zach. His wife Cheryl is having a big birthday tonight, so he wasn't able to join, but has been very instrumental in making this happen. So has Joseph Orozco he's representing the People of Color Caucus, along with Leganzi Kale. And let's see who else has been working on this. Ted Coe out at KCSB, who is a previous host of the conference. And a few other conference hosts, we have really been working with WTSQ to help them make this a great conference. So, but anyone else who has experience, Betty, of course, you hosting a conference, they'd love to hear from you as well. Anyone else have any thoughts about what you'd want? It doesn't have to be conference related or LPFM related, but anything else you'd like to see at the conference besides?
Yeah, this is Jim.
Hi, Jim.
I just came back from the KOPN's 50th anniversary. A wonderful event there. Lots of old timers there. Really a groundbreaking historical station. And I did a version of my Riot for Radio workshop. I would suggest that a panel, not just me, but a panel of folks who are involved in low-tech, low-cost local news production might be worthwhile. People can compare notes.
Yeah, that was a great session you all did virtually through the virtual conference. I'd love to see something of that nature in person. Really enjoyed that.
So Jim, you might want to get a hold of Tom Voorhees, because in 2018, he gathered a bunch of people to do sessions on news.
Because news is so hard for stations. You're small, you have limited budget. Most of the people are not, quote, professionals. You run into the whole rigmarole of getting both sides of the story and being professional, which is, very difficult to do, especially on a regular basis. Even if you just had, say, a half-hour weekly news program, that represents a lot of time and effort. It can be done, but it's much more difficult than, say, playing old reggae.
That's true. I'm good at playing reggae, not so much at the news. Cool, Jim. So we got you signed up for for assembling some kind of panel about news, community radio.
And
news.
let Austin Airways be the first $100 donation.
Right. Did you hear that, Chris? You already got $100 from Austin Airwaves.
You're not gonna
Love
find
it.
any easier.
See? It's rolling,
you.
money's just rolling in. Cool. Well, thank you so much for that's awesome, Jim. Thank you for Austin Airways, always supporting the GRC and always right there asking when the hell is this damn thing going to happen again. So thanks for watching. Wait to see it. All right. Anyone else want to anything, either something you want to propose that you'd like to, share at the conference, or something you'd like to see at the conference, or any questions about, the location or anything like that?
Yeah,
I
I would be
was-
willing to do the session I did on governance with the addition of an additional speaker with me who will talk about, gosh, I can't think of the name of it, where consensus governing, because that's not the kind of governance I talk about. And I got chewed up a little bit after I gave my session saying, well, now it works for us. So I'll try to recruit maybe Will Floyd and some folks like that, and Paul Boehm.
And Joseph Orozco, who I just mentioned as well, he's really into consensus building, and he's been doing a lot of that for the Pacifica affiliates groups. So
Great.
I could connect you with, do you know Joseph?
Oh, yeah, I do. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, you might want to reach out to him as well.
Yeah, he does a wonderful session as well.
Yeah, he's gonna-
did it at NFCB a few years back.
Well, he's skipping NSCB this year to come to his second grassroots radio conference. And his first one was actually the very first GRC that ever happened. So
Wow.
really excited to get him back in person.
Yes, I'll be glad to see him again.
Yeah.
It's a great idea to have him be with, give another perspective from what I do.
Totally. I think that would be great. Cool. Michelle?
Well, obviously I got a few ideas. Of course, I mentioned one was already mentioned, which is, okay, the window's over, what's next? That's something, obviously we follow a lot, we track all the MXs over here. So I have, and trust me, I was very much in the trenches in 2020, in 2013. So, so that's definitely going to be a good, that's definitely going to be a good idea. Let's see, a couple things. Okay. One thing that we might want to look at, I'd like to see, I've not seen this yet really at a GRC, but, maybe get a feel for how many people who are attending who have amateur radio licenses. And maybe we could have a little ham radio social. I think that would be a good idea. It's the other kind of radio that's out there that you need a license for. So just some thoughts. And Chris, if you're still listening, I want to make sure that somebody contacts me this year about maybe taking out an ad in the program. This is something I ask for all the time at every GRC. Nobody ever gets back to me, like I don't exist. So if somebody could.
Oh, hardly.
Michelle, I did see that email. I've been and Sharon can back me up on this. I've been a little paralyzed by the fact that, the president of the organization has been in Europe for 2 to 3 weeks. So I've had about 3 to 4 organizations reach out, and I don't know what to tell them. I had a conversation with Sharon yesterday. I said, can I borrow a few of your minutes? And I got almost an hour out of her trying to be like, where are we at with this? Because, I'm getting a lot of inquiries and I don't know what to say and what not to say.
Because a program like that, that's a nice little takeaway too, because people save those and they put them in the drawer. And then they go back and they look at them 10 years later and say, I went to the GRC 10 years ago. And, I still got some of my GRC programs hanging out, probably sitting in boxes somewhere, but still I've got them somewhere.
One of our board members did that literally yesterday, pulled the 2015 GRC schedule out. Yep. Did that very thing yesterday. So absolutely. I'm not against it. I'm just trying, and that's why I'm attending this call. I just wanted to get an idea of what the community would like to have. And we do our best to try to execute that. I've got like 4 emails that I don't know how to reply to at the moment. So,
Chris, this is Betty with CMAP, who co-organized the 2018. I've got lots of notes about what to do when, and when you can tell people what, and what all that kind of stuff. And I will shoot off an email to you right away.
Please.
So that you can respond to people and start, and the rest of us who are going to help you with getting the word out, will have something to say, so. Sharon, if you could shoot that email to, no, there's Chris, he gave me.
Yeah, he just posted it. So Chris has just posted his email in the chat. Everybody who wants to reach out to him with advice or ideas, it sounds like they're interested in that. May take him a minute to get back to you, especially with Damon being out of the country. But hopefully when he gets back, he'll take care of all that and things will be rolling. But I think it's a great idea, Michelle. I also have a stack full of programs from previous conferences. And Chris, it sounds like there's another opportunity for some income, to help you all host this station. So I think that's a great idea.
Also, too, another thing is that we are still hosting some of the Grassroots Radio Conference website domains over here. So if a website gets set up somewhere, we'll be more than happy to redirect those. So just let me know, let me know what GRC, what it is, where it's going. And I think we should be able to redirect those in somewhere or another. I haven't looked at that in quite a while because it's been a long time since we've had a live in person. But, putting up a simple website with some basic information, including, information about the community, about getting there, access. For example, like for me, I'm still debating whether I'm going to drive in or fly in. The issue, of course, is the big issue is, and I think that's going to be for a few of us here, is going to be the logistical issue of it being so close to the window. And for me, it's about an 8-hour. It's an 8-hour nonstop drive from Riverton to out there. And probably if I flew, it's gonna be a connecting flight through Charlotte, North Carolina. So it's gonna be about 6 or 7 hours if I do it that way. So either way, it's like I'm gonna be out 2 additional days, pretty much as a result of because of travel. So those are some of the logistical issues I need to look at. And also too, going to be looking for lodging and stuff, and and of course knowing where the venue is versus of course is going to help, because that'll help me make arrangements whether I can walk or whether I need to get an Uber or something like that. So there's obviously the logistical things, so that way people are coming prepared. We're not just going to drop them in the city and say you're on your own. So, these are some of the things, and I know Betty can help with that. And any of the past organizers would definitely be able to help, because that's what we're here to do. We're all here to help. And
is the LPFM window opens 8 days after the conference? Is that correct?
Yeah, well, November 1st. I'm not looking at the calendar, but it's November 1st.
126 days. 126 days from today. From today, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you can get one of those countdown timers.
I'm building it right now. I'm building it right now for us. I'll give you guys a link later.
It's basically the window opens 1 week after the conference closes, essentially. Take a day. I had a quick question about what are there major airlines that fly into the local airport? If this is an easy place to get to, I think that it's within the realm of possibility of getting some equipment manufacturers to come in for a day or two. In past conferences, we've had transmitter manufacturers, and Innovonics was there at the one in Portland, but oftentimes it depends on how easily they can get there. So can you tell me anything about that?
The airport is small. It is an international airport, but it's probably the minimum definition of international. So
what airline?
US, Delta. I honestly, it's so infrequent that I even myself fly out of Charleston.
I can tell you that American Airlines does go there. I think the airport code there, I think is
got a
CHW,
list,
if I remember correctly.
I looked it up and it's American, United, Delta, Spirit, JetBlue, Frontier. I can't read that one. Hawaiian and Qatar.
Well, that,
No, it's not. It's,
Read this one.
so can you fly direct from like New York or Boston, or is it all, is everything a connection?
That's more than likely going to be a connection. Yeah.
yeah, it
True.
depends on the air. It depends on the airline, I mean, with American, it's gonna be Charlotte. I don't know if they have anything from Philly going in there. It all depends on the hubs.
Okay.
Delta probably coming in from Atlanta. It all depends. It all depends on the airline and
Mhm.
what the hubs are. If it's United, it's probably Chicago or Newark.
And
If you
this,
can
this,
get a
of
direct
course,
flight-
this is in addition to having experts there who can answer questions, this is a source of additional income.
Yes, and they've, often the ones who are going to be speaking or helping will also sponsor and have an ad in the program.
Yeah, it, in the Portland one, Innovonics, for example, was a major presenter in an RBDS, radio text session. So that's,
That's a cool idea to reach out to them. Maybe Michael, you and Betty could send Chris some ideas of manufacturers that might show up.
I think what we should do is just, yes, and the ones that would come would probably be ones that have done this before. Betty and I could help and put together a list of all the exhibitors that have might have attended the last several ones. Because some of them are
SCMS.
going after, and things are a little slow in the full power area. FM radio is pretty mature, so they're looking for any place they can make additional sales. They're willing, if it doesn't conflict, if they can get in and out easily, they'll send somebody.
That's true. I noticed a lot of them did LPFM packages in the last round and stuff like that. They really saw this as a good opportunity for selling new transmitters. So great idea.
Exactly. But we
Yeah,
need to
and we
get
also-
on their schedule right away. That's one of the things to do, is contact these potential sponsors, speakers, and contact potential speakers that are not with companies and get on their calendar.
Yeah, I think we'll start with the exhibitors that have done this for LPFM in the past.
Sounds good.
Cool. Thanks,
So
everyone.
what I'm seeing here, coming from Portland, we would have a connection in Chicago. Oh my gosh, 5-hour layover. Bleh. Yeah.
Has a venue been selected yet?
What's that again?
Is there a venue? Is there a place where this is going to be yet?
No.
Well, they're in the works. I think they're just not, with Damon being out of town, I'd say he already has a few things secured, but I think we're gonna wait for him to share that. Is that right, Chris? But it will all be downtown. Sorry, go ahead, Chris. You're the answer man.
Could you repeat the question?
Oh, I was just asking, they were asking if any venues had been selected. I know you all have definitely been working with a few different venues.
We have a number of venues that we've talked to here in town, and we're just trying to get it. We're trying to keep everything within 3 streets. So the idea is when you land, that you could walk, you don't have to drive around, that you could walk everything you need to go to. Your breakfast, lunch, dinner, your entertainment, your conferences, checking out the station if you wanted to visit the station. So we're talking to everybody within the roughly 4 or 5 block area about making that happen.
Sounds good.
And it sounds like they're gonna have some music at nighttime, some local venues sponsoring some great music for us and things like that. So I've been involved in involved in a few of these conferences, and these guys really are on the ball. I mean, they really want this to be a good showcase for their city and their station. And I know that they're going to do a great job. So they've got way more in the works than we did, certainly when we hosted it, even though we were virtual, but they've really got a lot going on. And I'm just excited for Damon to come back in town and tell everybody about it. Chris, do you know when he's coming back?
End of the month. That's
End
all
of
I
the
know.
month. Okay, cool. Well, he said it sounds like that he'll be able to be on the next. Well, we'd like to go ahead and keep these meetings going monthly. We were doing it, I think it's the 4th Tuesday of the month. And we'd like to, they kind of fell out, they kind of come and go, but we'd like to keep those going if we can. And it sounds like he'll be able to join the next call. So we should have a lot more details for you at that time.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, I think everything will be right downtown. And I started looking into, we're going to try to, if anyone can get a direct flight to Louisville and want to get on our bus, we're going to try to rent some kind of bus or a van or something like that. Because we have a whole bunch of DJs. Come on, Jim, join us.
Party.
It'll be a party, that's for sure. So yeah, so if anyone wants to do that, that'd be great. We really want to get a lot of our staff over there. It's convenient for us. And then I know it's hard for folks on the West Coast. If you can make it, we'd really love it. I think you would really enjoy the experience. And every year a different station hosts this. So if anyone we've had some interest from the West Coast for next year. So hopefully we can spread it out across the country a little bit more in the future. But WTSQ was the main station, the only station actually who stepped up with a serious bid for it. And we're super thankful for that. So thank you, Chris. We're here for you. If you need anything, let us know for sure. I think you'll be getting, bombarded with emails after this call. And we understand that so basically Chris is not the main guy, as you could tell, running this thing. So we'll wait for Damon to come back in town to get specific answers to everybody.
And I'm going to take this opportunity to duck out. I got to go rescue a radio tower. Look forward to talking to you all soon.
All right. Good luck with that, Jim. Thanks for joining us. And thanks to Austin Airways for the donation to the GRC.
Yeah, you bet.
Right on.
You bet.
Cool.
Hey, Sharon, we also have that Discord channel. If somebody wants, I don't know if that'll be used during the conference, but I can add people or whatever, whoever's gonna kind of take over any kind of virtual element.
That'd be cool. The Discord was a lot of fun with the virtual GRC. Of course, we were all online, but
yeah, I don't know.
that'd be great. Well,
on
I'll connect you
virtual.
with Damon.
Okay.
Thanks, Mary, for setting that up for us.
Yep, no problem.
Cool. All right. Well, anybody else on GRCs, or should we dive into this LPFM thing?
Sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm going to do my best to be able to make it there. And hopefully we'll have a schedule soon so I can, at least the one thing about this one is it is road trip distance. So that makes it quite a bit easier for me, because I can make last minute decisions to go, where if you're flying, you got to get your airfare in like 21 days in advance, because I'm seeing fares right now anywhere from $300 to $700 from Salisbury over there right now if I was to book. So it's going to get crazy, and hopefully there's rooms, and that's, should be plenty of rooms. So we should be good.
I've got a question. I think this is for Chris. So I was looking at my Southwest Airlines points and how many that I had. And Southwest doesn't fly to Charleston, but it does fly to Columbus and Pittsburgh. So what's the closest to drive from?
Columbus. So Columbus, actually, I was there this last weekend. It's a pretty easy drive. Yeah, that's going to be your better path.
Okay, I might do
How
that.
far is that, Chris, from where you are?
Columbus is, no, can you tell me 3.5 hours? We did it in three from Columbus. No, there's a new, there's a new section of highway that, yeah. So it's, I feel like it's about a 3 hour. Well, yeah, I mean, coming out of Columbus, I feel like it's 3 hours is a pretty safe, definitely faster in Pittsburgh. Let's just go with that.
That's still a long drive. I'll check it out.
Yeah, I don't doubt it. Yeah. And it's unfortunate about our airline situation. And the Huntington airline is even smaller than the Charleston airline, which is, about 40-50 minutes west of us.
What would be the biggest major city to you all?
Columbus. Yeah.
Columbus would be, okay.
Yeah, it's the, biggest, largest city and closest. I mean, we connect everything fairly quick for what we're used to, 3 to 4 hours. So 3 to 4 hours to Raleigh, 3 to 4 hours to Pittsburgh, 3 to 4 hours to gets us to Lexington, pretty close to Louisville. And then Columbus I can do in 3 hours and change.
Cool.
I was in DC last month. I felt like DC was 5 hours and change. Yeah. There's a new section of corridor that makes that a lot easier to do now too.
Yeah.
So there's a message from Leganzi in the chat.
Okay. What's it say? I'm sorry, I'm not able to read the chat right now. Go ahead, Betty.
Okay, so Leganzi says, sorry, I'm late to the party. Any info on registration costs?
Party doesn't start till you get here, Leganzi, so welcome. Chris, I don't know. I think Damon is working on the registration costs. But I don't know that that's been decided yet.
Yeah, I mean, we bounce the number around, and Kenny had a ticket from like 2015. He was looking at was 155, 135. 2015. In 2015 at like 135. I don't know. I know Damon mentioned the number 200, but to me at that rate, it's going to be like, well, what are we offering for 200? Which is why I wanted to attend this meeting to know that people are getting the content and the experience that they want for that price point. We went to conferences. We don't have a lot of resources and or funds. So us going to the 3 conferences that we went to, and yeah, it was always, I get it. I want this to be a doable number for stations that like many LPFMs that struggle with resources.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, it's worth it. It is worth it. I got to tell you, it really is. Everyone will get their money's worth. And I know that Chris and WTSQ really are conscious about making it worth your while. So I understand there's a lot of expenses getting there and staying there and et cetera. So I know they're going to try to keep it, within range for everybody to be able to afford to be there. And there are scholarship. I think there's some kind of scholarship thing somehow. I don't know what's.
We can bring that up at the next meeting.
Yeah.
One better idea for what's going to be provided and what the venues look like. I'm still negotiating things with the city, trying to get the city to provide funds, trying to get the Visitors Bureau here to engage more in the venues. We're literally trying to barter, effectively on-air underwriting for some of these spaces. So we're pulling every favor we can in town to keep costs low. The fortunate thing about here is that it's easy to move around once you've parked your vehicle, so you won't be consumed by Uber cost, and the cost of living is cheap here. Hotel rates are pretty cheap. So it's an affordable city to do this in.
And a lot of fun too. It really is cool. A lot happening there. I think you'll love it.
What are the chances that the venue will be walking distance to multiple accommodation option?
I'm looking out of the window of the station currently, and I can see 3 hotels.
Yeah, I mean that if you don't have to deal with the transportation, that really helps. Yeah.
Yeah.
What are the what are the hotels? So we'll know what
Yeah, what are you looking at?
Yeah, that's the thing. We need to identify what those are, so because that will help us in our planning.
Right now, the city has been. We just got out of something called There's an art series called Festival that occurs, just wrapped up. That is like a 2-week-long, summer-long thing. Now we're going into something called Regatta, and so the Visitors Bureau has been so occupied with these 2 major summer events that they've not. They're like, look, we want this to happen. Just please give us some time. And then we actually entertained moving this up a week earlier, but I can't unfortunately do that because the week before in the fall is Festive Fall, which is again another week-long event, and then you run into the CVB won't support you. And what I would like to do is make sure that we've found a reasonably priced hotel that we can block rooms that you can walk to the station, and to all the. I want this to be you park your car in the garage and you don't move it until Sunday when you're going back home.
Awesome. Love that. That's how Hot Springs was. And it made it a great,
Yeah.
like, you know, just a community event. You could just walk with some people to a restaurant, hang out, walk back to the conference. You know, it's really great.
Or,
Yeah,
That's what I
or
loved about, that's
don't rent a car, you know.
what I loved about Hot Springs.
Right. Save money.
Yeah,
Okay. Well, yeah. Sorry. Go ahead, Chris.
I was just saying, like, again, I want the experience all around to be a good one, and I went to that Hot Springs one, and it was phenomenal just walking up and down the street, and that's what I'm trying to emulate. Is a come here, drop off the car, you're done, or Uber in from the airport, what have you, and everything's walkable. And the city is very walkable. The city is very safe. The climate is very nice at the end of October. Usually, you know, the summer's broke, the humidity is away. You know, the foliage is pretty. So we're thinking of all the things to make the experience a nice experience.
Great.
And I hate that we did pick this date, and then it was like weeks later that the LPFM date was
Yeah.
announced. That is unfortunate, but we can't really shift it just because of the things that are already, you know, committed to here in the city of Charleston.
Yeah. Well, it is what it is. And I think that we're glad that, you know, it's going to be exciting to get together, and that will be a really exciting time to be together. I mean, that is like in the heat of it all. So, we'll just embrace it and do what we can. And hopefully our engineering folks will be able to join us. I know you all are going to really be in a crunch time. So, but please, would everybody encourage folks to come to this conference? Because of course, the success of the conference just depends entirely on the people who show up. The sessions are always wonderful, but really it's just this coming together of the community radio community that to me is the most valuable thing. Just sharing war stories, sharing, you know, great ideas and amazing things that we've learned. And I just can't wait to see everybody. So, so mark your calendars, please reach out to your other community radio folks. College and community radio stations are really the focus here. And let's try to get some more folks involved with this conference, because really we're all very powerful in our own way, in our own worlds. And when we come together as a group and bring all these stations together, I mean, amazing things can happen. So, so I look forward to seeing you all. Well, thank you for that. Now let's shift if we can, and feel free to reach out to Chris with more ideas and suggestions. And let's dive into this LPFM thing. I cannot believe it's actually going to happen. It's been for years. We've been going, the window is coming. The window is coming. Michelle, it's here.
Yes. It for me, it was, I mean, I had two shockers here in the past few days, and the LPFM window was the first one. The second one was our petition for rulemaking for translator reform, which is what I'm trying to get a lot of things fixed from all the mistakes that were made with the 2003 window, because we know that after LPFM, translators will be next, and we need to protect LPFM opportunities, and we need to ensure fairness. And we also need to have the first reserve band NCE filing window. There's never been one since the rule was established in 2000. And there's still a little bit of room there for that. Anyway, I'll digress. Yeah, a lot is going on. Right now, I'm in the process of running our Every Nook and Cranny report, which scours the whole entire continental United States, 1 minute of latitude and longitude at a time. What we're doing here is we're getting a complete view of what is available. Hopefully this program's working right, and if it is, we'll have maps up maybe as soon as tomorrow afternoon. This report takes about 4 to 5 days of processing time to run, because like I said, it is deep and scourly. So we'll have a chance to be able to to get some information on availability, and hopefully that will help those out there who are trying to mobilize and get organizations to come on board. This is the time for them to do it. The key things is make sure they've got their organizations intact. This is one of the issues that we're already seeing, is people are wanting to come on board. The problem is they don't have their nonprofit corporations formed. And that's got to be formed before the window. That is one of the 4 fatals that we're going to be talking about with them. And so we got to make sure that that's in order. And just the big thing is availability. And not every site's going to be a good site, especially since we're dealing with when you're dealing with second adjacent waivers and stuff like that. And and there's going to be a lot of folks that are going to try it themselves. And unfortunately, the orders that you do yourself are not always going to succeed. I mean, in the last window, we had about 60 to 70% of the applications were filed with hired help, and the other 30%, they had a fairly high failure rate in them. And so that's the reason we've changed some policies over here. This is why you don't see an LPFM search tool at REC Networks this year. This is why the LPFM app tool does not show full frequencies, because there was too many people that were depending on these websites, but not knowing what they're looking at. And their applications were failing left and right. And so these are the things that we need to be careful of. Educational statements are also going to be big. I think it's going to be bigger this time around than it was in 2013. It all depends on the volume that staff gets. The FCC has, maybe because they haven't had much else to do, they have been really cracking down on educational statements on assignment applications. So hopefully that sticks for the window. And, we can make sure that these we've got some good quality applicants coming in, and making sure that it outnumbers the EWTNs and the Seventh-day Adventist groups, and the Cesar Guels and the Hector Guevaras and the Robert Lunds and all the other crazies that we had, the Remanentes. There have been a ton of bad players. A couple of them resurfaced in the NCE window. We expect to see them coming out in droves in the LPFM. So we need to have good competing applications out there, and we need to have some good people on hand who can write some good informal objections and petitions to deny, just in case, and dig up as much dirt as you can to try to make sure that and just make sure that people know what they're doing when they're applying. And that's the whole thing. And this is where I think the GRC, for those who are already committed to filing, they need to attend the GRC, because we can give them a boot camp. I think between Michael, myself, Betty, the attorneys who show up, if Alan shows up or somebody shows up, we have chances for, we have a good boot camp that we need. And it's going to be the closest thing to the owner's manual for LPFM stations that I've always envisioned doing. And maybe one of these days I'll actually sit down and write it. But, and that's the whole thing. Folks need guidance. We're seeing a lot of mistakes happen over the years since the last window, because people don't know what the rules are, what the policies are, and they don't know that they can come to the social media channels, LPFM Solidarity, LPFM Tech Advice. There's a ton of them out there. There's a ton of support out there. People just got to know. They got to reach out. They can reach out to me. I'm pretty sure they can reach out to Michael. They can reach out to a lot of folks. We're here to help, and we're here to give advice. My advice is free. If you think it's worth more, there's a donate button on the website.
There you go. That's awesome. It's amazing. I mean, that's so
yeah, I'm very excited about this upcoming window. And it's going to be the last one we're going to see for quite a while. So you got to get in while the getting's good.
Right. And that's the biggest message that we as a community radio world need to be pushing right now, hot and heavy, like call it every nonprofit, or anybody that's interested. And like Michelle said, right now is the time to form a nonprofit. You do not have to be a 501c3, but you do have to be a nonprofit located in the community where you want your license.
And you can be a nonprofit. Here's the key thing too. You can be a nonprofit in any state. It doesn't have to be the state that you're in as far as the FCC goes. It is very easy to file for a Delaware corporation. And there's companies out there that do it. It's a very easy process. Riverton Radio Project Association, my nonprofit, even though we are a stone's throw from the Delaware line, we are a Delaware corporation. And a lot of folks do that. And it's the easiest way to do it. It's not that expensive. And you just have to renew it every year. And that's the other thing too. Existing corporations, they need to make sure that they have paid up, that they've made all their annual reports and that they are in good standing. They need to check the websites for their states to make sure that they're in good standing, because if they are not in good standing at the time of filing, that's a fatal.
Not hard to start a nonprofit at all. I've started several kind of crazy things. And I mean, we've gotten them all done in about 24 hours with the help of the right lawyer. Often you can find a lawyer that will do that pro bono for you. Michelle, did you have something?
I was just going to say, and the nice thing about Delaware is you can do everything online through a service. You don't need an attorney. Prints out all of your articles of incorporation, everything. And also Delaware is one of the states that only requires a board of directors of one person.
Whoa.
And Georgia's the same way, folks.
Okay with that too?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, there's about 2 dozen. There's about a dozen and a half states that do that. We have a list actually on the website.
So are you suggesting that they consider a Delaware corporation with a headquarters in Delaware, even though the board members may all be out of state, and use the board members' proximity as the nexus then?
No, you use your physical location as your headquarters. So your headquarters or 75% of your board has to be within 10 or 20 miles, depending on market.
Right.
But that does not mean, that you're gonna, but just to get you through the process, you can go in with an out-of-state corporation. The FCC has already made rulings in regards to foreign corporations, because this is an issue that came up in objections in the last window. Now, I would strongly suggest that after you get the construction permit and granted and everything, if you are using an out-of-state corporations, file for foreign corporation status in your own state. So that way you are able to, on the radar, legally do nonprofit business in your state. Some states might be a little wanky about that. So make sure that, but as far as the FCC doesn't care about what state it's in, as long as you have a corporate status. That's all the FCC cares about.
But I would suggest that you check into your state's process for becoming a nonprofit before doing all those jujitsus that Michi was talking about. In Oregon, it's very simple, but you do have to have 3 board members. I don't know the rest of the states. Well, I think William, whatever I'm supposed to call you.
William's good.
Huh?
Georgia's good. Yeah, Georgia's one. William is a good name to call me, but Georgia is a 1-person state, one board
One
member
person
state.
on your board, yeah. So maybe that's a little project that CMAP could take on. Right now is checking on all the other states to see what is the process for becoming a nonprofit in that state. So I'll do that and get it back to everybody as soon as I can.
Yeah, there is an
In most
FAQ
cases,
question
it's
on the
fairly
website.
painless.
Wait a
It's
minute,
fairly
Ichi
painless
first and
in
then
most
Michael.
Yeah, okay, I was just gonna say, there is an FAQ question on the REC website regarding this. And
Yeah.
it shows every single state, the minimum
Oh.
number of board members, and there's also a citation to the nonprofit law in those states. So you can go right to the code and read
I
up.
will not take
and-
any kind of credit for the thing that already exists. Excellent. Ichi, thank you.
Yeah, but still use it as a resource. It's there for you. It's there for you.
Oh gosh, this looks like Uncle Sam. Yeah.
Used it. It was great.
We want you to get a station.
In Tennessee, we found when we started WRVU Friends and Family, which now is the holder of WXNA, the Arts Council of, I don't know if it's Nashville or Tennessee, one of the two, the Arts Council anyway, would provided pro bono services for anyone who wanted to start an arts related nonprofit. So that might be an avenue for you to check on. We found just a friendly attorney that did that for us. And I know it's kind of just to start a nonprofit, it's a very basic fee. If you can't find somebody to, if you just want to hire somebody to do it, it's not going to be that huge of an expense, really. So right
If
now,
you
we
want
just
to do it right, you do it right, you get hired help.
Right. I agree with that. And I think
Yeah.
that's also the case for the engineering. I think you both made the good point that a lot of DIY applications got dismissed. So as we're encouraging people to form nonprofits, also encourage them to start finding their engineer, because there's only so many engineers that do this kind of thing, at least that we know of. I'm sure, they're out there, but you want to get on their schedule because they're all going to be really booked. Right? Am I right?
There's only a few of them that I trust.
Okay.
That's the key thing.
Right.
There's a lot of folks that do FCC filings, but when they start filing LPFMs and start putting translator stuff in there, we got a problem. I've seen this happen. And so that's the key thing. And of course, the next thing you'd probably want to work for, and this is where you definitely I'm going to need hired help for this, is if you ever wanted to get to 501c status. Because with 501c, at least people who donate to you, they can write it off. So there's definitely some advantages, but there's also some responsibilities that comes with being a 501c. But it's definitely an advantage, especially if you're going to be in the business of doing underwriting acknowledgements. And that's another thing we need to, of course, cover at the GRC is underwriting.
Very good, yes.
Go ahead, Betty.
Sharon, is this being recorded, and can you post it somewhere so I can see what I said I would do?
Mary, are you still there? Mary's, it does look like she's got this recording.
Yep.
Mine says it's recording.
Okay. Yep. Oh, yes, it does say that. Okay. But because it's recording doesn't mean I will be able to get to it. That's
Yeah, I'll figure out how to get it to somewhere to get posted for you.
Okay, darling.
Yeah, we'll work that out. I think
Thanks,
there's a
Betty.
lot of good info here. So people will want that. Michelle, you just said a couple things I was curious about, real quick, and then we'll go to Eric has a question. Let's see, you mentioned that the educational statements when we applied, we wrote this like 20-page long educational statement. Everybody was like, they're never going to read any of this crap. They just want you to say you're educational. Is there something different that people need to be aware of in order to not get
here's the key thing that we have found during our trial and error during the last 10 years is basically the bottom line is that the educational statement should describe the organization, what their current educational purpose is, how the radio station is going to advance the organization's educational objectives, and to also give information on how the station is going to instruct or teach over the air. Those are two key words that the FCC will be looking for: instruct or teach. You know the history of this service. This service originally started in the 1940s, and at that time, only school systems, public school systems, could get licenses, and the stations were restricted where they were intended to be used for distance learning, for broadcasting academic courses to remote classrooms. That's what the service was originally for. It was actually a religious organization, the Moody Bible Institute, that challenged that before the FCC, and that's where the educational organization came in. Then, of course, Pacifica in the early days was also very strong in making this more than just for schools. A lot of the rules are still written. The 503 rules, the 73 503 rules, are still talking about schools and stuff like that in there, but the FCC has expanded on that. And we have, it's educational institutions and organizations. But yeah, the key things are, making sure that what the organization does, how the station is going to advance the educational program, and what the station is going to instruct or teach, including details on specific programs, like a name of a program and a short paragraph about maybe like 3 or 4 programs that are considered what you would consider educational helps. If you're already doing an internet stream right now with some educational programming, let's say you're a Pacifica web affiliate, include a program grid. That also helps a ton, or the program grid that you think that you're going to do. Now, of course, you're not going to be bound to it. The FCC can't do that. That's a First Amendment issue. But this is the thing that you need to do. This is the hoop that you need to do to get you through the door. The FCC just needs to be satisfied that they have met that Section 399 requirement that this is an educational organization.
So it doesn't need to be poetic or anything, but it does need to hit those points.
Oh, no. Yeah, it doesn't need to be too overly poetic. Trust me, I've seen some mile-long educational statements. It sounds like yours was. But we've gotten quite a few of them through with just those basics, who the organization is. Also, too, in there, you also want to make sure that you include what your corporation status is. So, it's incorporated in Delaware. And also put your local establishment dates. You got to make sure of that, because with LPFM, local establishment dates play 2 games in here. Number one, it plays a game with the local presence point. The FCC is going to want documentation. If you're claiming more than 2 years, then you need to make sure that you have your articles of incorporation in there, and it shows that the organization was formed 2 years ago, and you want to make sure that they know that it was within the local area. And then also too, if you get into a really big group, the local establishment date also plays in the case of mutual exclusivity. In case of, for example, there's more than 3 5-point applicants. Only the top 3 are going to move forward. Everybody else is going to go, and they're going to use that community establishment date. The 3 oldest organizations will be the ones that will go. Everybody else is out the door. So we got that. Also too, if nobody agrees with anybody on anything and the FCC goes to a involuntary timeshare, your local establishment date is a seniority date. So if you're the oldest of the 3, you get first choice of the time slots. So that's
It's
that
more than
information.
just the 2 years. So like the oldest organization will win, just to clarify.
Right. Well, the 2 years comes up in the point system before, and that's in the point system. And the other thing, of course, is proving localism. If your headquarters is not within the 10 or 20 miles, but your board members are, make sure that the information in there is correct. No PO boxes, no virtual offices, no Kinkos, no vacation homes. We see these happen, or for the headquarters. If you have to use a mailing address for your headquarters, include an exhibit with the physical address. Either that headquarters or 75% of the board members must be within that 10 or 20 mile limit. And those are some, the FCC did dismiss some applications in 2013 because of that. So they are looking, and especially if you got a competition and they file an objection, they say, wait, that person's 26 mile, their headquarters is 26 miles and their board members are 30 miles away. They don't qualify. That will get you taken out.
And unlike full power, the nexus is the transmitter site, not the community of license.
Right.
That's the point from which you determine that mileage.
So people can form a nonprofit right now today and be qualified to apply for a license as long as they're a nonprofit within the community or their headquarters or their board members. There's somehow they're based in that community and have established. But so you can form one, be qualified to apply, but you will not, if you are in a competitive situation and you need bonus points, then you are going to need for your organization to have existed for at least 2 years. And that can mean finding another organization sorry, was that my chief? Sorry.
I was going to say 2 years local presence. And yeah, exactly that. Otherwise, you're going to be a 4-point applicant. And depending on where you are and how many other channels are available, 4-point applicants can sometimes find a place to jump off to. So just because you're a 4-pointer does not mean you're doomed. It just means it's going to be a little harder. to do that. We've seen a lot of 4-pointers, find their way to other channels. Go back and look at the 2013 window data that we have, and you'll see, you'll look at the MX groups and you'll see, yeah, we did have some 4-pointers go off and make and go singleton. And the nice part about it is when the FCC opens up that second window, that second change window, the 90-day one, you can make any change you want. You can go major move. You're not just limited to 7 miles or so. You can move the station anywhere you want, as long as you keep that localism aspect in place, or you can change to any channel you want. So there's going to be opportunities. There's going to be a lot of flexibility, and that helped a lot of stations in the last window. We saw stations move like 20, 30 miles away and move their headquarters just so they could stay local and get on the air. So there's definitely ways we can do it. Again, it's just, we have to take a look, obviously we want to make sure that, people know what channels are available. The key things is making sure what channels are available, second adjacent, whether it's going to be, and how hard that second adjacent is, because not all second adjacent channel waivers are created equal. The closer you are to your short spaced second adjacent station, the better off you are. And in some cases, the absolute furthest away is also good. But once you get into that zone where you're 60, 70 dB, where we cut off between an easy and a hard waiver is what we call 80 dB. And that's the number that we use over here. And if you go to FCC, if you go to the LPFM.app site that we are using, we actually say, okay, is this an easy waiver? Is it a somewhat challenging waiver? We have different levels for that. And it's just based on distance from those second adjacent stations. And you use the weakest of your second adjacent stations to make all your determinations, because the interference from the closer station will fit entirely inside the interfering contour that you need for the weaker station. So we're going to be dealing with the second adjacent over. We are applying in Riverton. So
too much detail.
Okay,
There are people on this call that
Why we need
have no
experts.
idea what you're talking about.
well, hold on one second, because Eric had a question a while
sorry
back.
about that.
But that's a good point. I actually have to get back on the road to get to my mom's house tonight. On my way to grandmother's house. But Eric, sorry for the delay there, but go ahead, please.
Yeah, no problem. My question was mainly about existing LPFM licensees. Do we have to worry about encroachment? Now, I guess this is directed at Mitchie or Michael, but when KJZX first went on the air, we were co-channel with the translator, and it was horrible. We were unlistenable. We ended up moving to a different frequency, and we have a pretty good signal now. But do we need to worry about a co-channel LPFM filing 10 or 15 miles away, brand new? Is there some positioning you'd recommend that we do in terms of
first of all, in order, the distance separation is 24 kilometers co-channel, 14 kilometers first adjacent. So that is the absolute legal, the absolute legal limit that they can space from you. Now, however, that's not always going to help because of terrain. In some cases, we've seen stations that are exactly 24 kilometers apart, and they're eating each other up in some areas, even within their service contours. Also with the terrain that kicks in. We saw this happen in the 2013 window with the foothill effect stations. These are the ones that have the really big service contours in one direction because they're halfway up the mountain. And we saw one station that existed since the first generation window suddenly had another station 24 kilometers away on another hill in the same valley that just basically turned the valley floor into a slaughter pot, because they were both stepping on each other, because even though they were close apart, they still line of sight. They were both hitting the same area equally. So there, again, there's terrain issues that we've got to look at. But the FCC's rule, the FCC policy on this is clear, is even if there is terrain or other things, as long as they meet the legal distance separation, you can't do anything about it. It's the packing house decision. And that's
Okay, let's jump in
that's
here.
pretty much it.
Yeah, thank you, Michelle. Super amazing. So much information. If you're concerned about that, reach out to Michelle or Michael. Hopefully both of you all have put your websites and your emails in there for anyone who needs to reach out to you all. And let's see, Betty, have you said what you needed to say? I know you had your hand raised, and Bennett has his hand raised as well.
Yeah, it's just that all of that stuff that BG was just telling us is stuff that you will discuss with your engineer when you decide that you're going to apply. It's a little much to try to digest all of that all at once. I mean,
right.
I know what she's saying, but then I've been living with an engineer for 46 years. So.
And let's let Michael comment on that. Michael.
Okay, I'll make it real quick. For existing LPFMs, if you had considered moving to a better location at any time, I would say get an application in as a placeholder. I wouldn't recommend you do a specious application, but if you had considered moving to your dream location, get an application in and that'll also be protected. Your existing facility and that new better location will be protected too. Other than that, yeah.
And can they do that at any point, Michael, or do they have to wait for the window?
And either do it before the window.
You can do it now.
Before the cutoff before the window, which is normally going to be 2 weeks.
The cutoff is already,
somewhere in that
the first
range.
cutoff has already happened.
The what?
The 807 cutoff has already happened. And if you look at the rules, there isn't, and this, I'm going to get with staff on this, if you look very carefully at the 807 rules, it says, I'm just going to say this.
Okay, go real quick.
That there is language in there that says when any stations that were applications that were filed before the FCC announced the filing window, there is a language in there. So anything that's filed now may not be totally protected. But that's something I've got to re-verify with the staff that's what they, that public notice was the one that they meant to do.
We're going to go to Bennett, and then we're going to try to wrap this up so everyone can be off at 9:30 Eastern time, and I can get back on the road. Ben, go ahead.
Just a simple question. Today, it seems a majority of the LPFMs are church or religious licensees. And I realize that the announcement was made just a few days ago from the FCC, but I'm wondering if anyone has seen any indication that in this next round, we will similarly see a large influx of the religious applicants.
Great question.
I expect it. I expect it to happen because all it just takes is one word out to them. I'm pretty sure that that the Legal Works Apostolate folks are already working on the EWTN Catholic applications. Jason Bennett is going to be working on his Catholic applications. There's going to be
the answer. Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, I would say it is definitely on the radar.
Thank you. It's great to see everybody.
Yeah, great question, Bennett, and a great one to wrap up on, because this is really our competition, and this is where we really need to step up and get the nonprofit community to step up and place applications. And it can be like Michael said, and like Michelle mentioned as well, that it can be amended, it can be changed. There's transfers. We don't need to get into all this right now, but there's a lot of strategy that can happen, but none of the strategy can happen if they don't apply between that November 1st and November 8th. So we have a very short amount of time.
Remember too, that churches don't like to always share with seculars.
And seculars don't always like to share with churches. It's funny.
Well, my point is, it's going to be a chicken game. Who backs out first?
Right. And they're tough, and they've been doing this a while, and they really want these frequencies. What we need is that hunger within the nonprofit community nationwide, and people wanting these frequencies, and individuals that can go to different nonprofits, encourage them to apply. A lot of times the nonprofits don't want to do it at all, and they'll totally just be like, okay, sure, you run the radio station, so there's lots of ways, there's lots of strategy. We're going to talk about it all at the GRC, but in the meantime, we don't have a lot of time to get people to geared up to apply. Anyone can do this. I mean, it's just unbelievable, like how exciting it is to get radio stations in the hands of the people, and how exciting it is to be able to amplify the voices of your community. So that's where we really need to push the word right now and just get as many applications in there as we possibly can. And so that's our mission now until November 1st. Connecting them with the engineers that can make all the engineering happen. Don't worry about all this crazy like engineering stuff, because there are people to help you, and you can do it. And I'm really excited. It's going to be awesome to have this brand new batch of LPFMs across the country. I love the idea of an LPFM boot camp, which Michelle mentioned a little while ago. Maybe we can pull some kind of special Zoom together for people who are interested, so we can give them some info about what they need to do and how they can get ready. The one last thing I want to mention is that there is a one difference this year, which is that the FCSC is saying that it's okay for nonprofits to partner and collaborate and bring their points together. Michelle, am I correct about that?
Yeah, that is correct. And also too, I just want to point out to everybody on here, there is an article on the REC Network's website. And go to the front page, it's there. It's like, and what we've done is we've taken what was happening, what has changed in the past 10 years that's going to impact the window. So we talk about several of the rulemakings, a lot of the policy changes, procedure changes, system changes. It's all in this one article. So if you have experience with 2013 and you need to get caught up with 2023, that's the article for you. You're muted.
In the previous window, it's kind of like, was it okay for nonprofits to kind of go into this thing together, and join their points and win the frequency?
Yeah.
That wasn't sure in the last window. They said it's okay, right?
That rule was changed in 2019, and a lot of it was because of the issues that happened in 2013, the Dub Lab case, the G-Town case, which actually went to the DC Circuit. That was those were the cases where that caused this.
So that's kind of cool. So if you are in a competitive situation, you don't want to just approach one nonprofit. You're looking now for 3 nonprofits that you can convince to apply, accumulate their points, and beat the Christian stations off the airwaves. Not that we have any problem with that, but they have a lot of the airwaves already. There just needs to be airwaves for community voices.
Also, just unlike what happened in 2013, one other rule that was changed, your maximum timeshare group is 3, no more 5, 6, and 7s. It's only 3. So no more of what happened in Los Angeles. No more,
Yeah. Well, Lloyd has asked a very good question about when we're going to meet again, and we're going to try to revive our 4th Tuesday of the month meetings. So that puts us in July. I'm looking at July 25th. Can anyone confirm? I've got a tiny calendar I'm looking at.
Let's see.
Yeah, okay, I got a thumbs up. Okay, so July 25th at 8 p.m. Eastern time. Please mark it on your calendars. We'll get this Zoom out again, and we'd love to keep these going monthly on the 4th Tuesday of the month. And then I think we should think, Michelle and Michael and Betty, we should think about a LPFM boot camp or recruitment session or something like that we can do specifically for interested applicants.
Yeah. I'm hoping that there's going to be a lot of folks there that have already committed to filing, and that's who we need to also reach out for. Anybody that we know who is committed to filing already and maybe has already started the process, maybe already, hopefully by that time the systems will be up so we can at least stage applications. That way, those folks, we should have a session just for them, for the ones that are committed.
Cool. Well, thank you all so much for everyone for being here. I welcome you to stay on the line. Obviously, there's a lot of information and knowledge. Thank you so much, Michelle, for sharing all that with us. Michael, thank you so much to you. I really, I hope you guys are drinking lots of water and taking tons of vitamin C and getting all the sleep you need, because it's going to be crunch time for you all soon. And we appreciate all you do.
I appreciate this. Just keep in mind, I had to beg for permission from the other half to be up here this late at night. So
well,
this is usually our TV time. So
okay. Well, this is so important. And I know
this is extremely important.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you all so much. And I really hope that anyone on this call that's interested in applying will definitely do it. And the rest of you, now it's time to get out there and start calling up every nonprofit in your community, telling them they need to get that application in there. There'll be 3 years, right? They have 3 years to build it. So it's not like they
3
have
years to build. Yeah.
There's plenty of time.
Yeah,
Figure it out.
and yeah, and right now, if they're Singleton, right now, we're predicting the first construction permits will be granted in January.
Awesome. Amazing.
Wow.
Awesome. Thank you all so much. I'm going to jump off the line. Thank you, Mary, for hosting, and we'll see you all next month.
Thanks.
Bye, everybody.
All right.
Thank you.
Mary.
All right, take care.
Thank you.